And he's still,
Dapat sasabihin ko.
leading the team.
Yours is my answer.
Sabi ko na
Sagot
answer.
nating tatlo.
Ayan.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bolero. Sam here with Gap and Maui. What's up, guys? Hey, shout out sa Kickstart Coffee. One of the sponsors
Shout out
of
to
our
Kickstart Coffee.
shout out lang.
Shout out to
So,
Kickstart
thank you
Coffee,
for
man.
the
Yeah.
for the merch, no, sa Pinoy Liga and sa Kickstart Coffee. So,
Plus the
anyway,
free coffee.
plus the free coffee, exactly. Kaso gabi na, guys. So, hindi mo na kami inom ng kape. What are we going to talk about today? We had a lot of games over the weekend. Alam kong wala tayong game nung Thursday. Normally may Thursday games din. But we had a lot of games over the weekend. Although there was a controversial non-game. I don't know if we'll talk about that. But we will recap some of the games that we saw, especially the ones featuring some of the top UAAP teams. So let's get started. The segment that we'll do today is actually fill in the blanks. I think si Gab has a few questions. Everyone here will talk about the teams in the UAAP that played over the weekend by answering some of these questions. So Gab, let's get started.
All right. For our first fill in the blank statement, we're gonna talk about a team na sinasabi ng at least one of our subscribers have been saying we're not talking about them as much. They're undefeated. Well, what are they? I think they're 8-0 in the Pinoy Liga Cup. They have been dominant. And I just want to say, we don't talk about them as much because there's really nothing much to talk about with the UP Fighting Maroons. Diba? Sam, Maui, I think you guys have to agree. It's mostly status quo with UP. We know they're dominant. They're going to be a contender season 87. They mostly have an intact lineup heading into season 87, aside from those who departed and those who graduated. It's CJ Cancino and Malik Diouf. But aside from that, halos lahat ng main rotation guys are there for the UP Fighting Maroons. But the statement
before you ask the question though, I disagree kasi UP has played 6 games in Pinoy Liga. So I think in every Pinoy Liga episode we've done, we've talked about UP in one form or another kasi sila yung may pinakamaraming games. So actually, I disagree with that. But anyway,
Hindi lang marami masasabi.
Oh.
Yeah, siguro yun yung mas tamang statement. No? We can't expound further on UP because, we've said a lot about UP already. Diba?
It's a well-oiled machine.
The statement, yes, well-oiled machine. So, the statement that I prepared for the UP Fighting Maroons, in this undefeated start in the Pinoy Liga Cup, the most impressive thing about the UP Fighting Maroons is blank. Let's start with you, Maui. What's the most impressive thing about the UP Fighting Maroons' undefeated start to Pinoy Liga?
I think the most impressive thing to them is two things. The first one is yung improvement ng three-headed power forward lineup nila, which is si Belmonte, Lopez, and Terculas. I think people haven't been talking about a lot of we haven't really talked about them, yung improvement nila, but if you watch the games, you see that all three of these guys are starting to convert their games into more of a wing player than a big man. Last game, if you watch the last game against Adamson, you saw yung drive and pull up jumper ni Belmonte to put UP up to nung last minute. That was something that you wouldn't see in season 86, diba? And if you watch Terculas, yung improvement niya sa outside shooting and yung driving niya has improved a ton, yung playmaking even. And si Lopez, I don't have to say anything about Lopez because yung improvement niya is just all around. I think you can agree on that. But if you were to ask me what was the most impressive thing about UP 6-0 start, it has to be playing two different lineups on back-to-back. Diba?
I agree.
UP has played the most games. Diba? As Sammy said, they have played 6 games. They're 6-0. They have weekends where they play Sundays and Saturdays. And if you watch both games, yung lineup for Saturday and lineup for Sunday is usually a complete different lineup. That's crazy. Imagine playing different lineups 2 different days but still beating down your opponents, di ba? That just speaks yung volumes of how deep and talented this UP team is. Sorry for those that are commenting na kulang pa ang UP. Kulang pa daw. 'Di ba? Dahil di daw yung 16-man lineup nila baka hindi pa daw buo. But this team has to be the deepest team we've seen. Maybe even deeper than the previous iterations of UP when it comes to 1 to 16, 'di ba? This team is just unbelievable. And it's crazy that they still keep on getting names. I think si Naveen Ganlani announced this week that they were able to get another FSA. Their third FSA, di ba? The 7'3" guy, gonna, old teammate of Kai Soto, an NCAA Division 1 big man. And we're going to see Rimogat for next season. It's actually, I've also been tracking yung performance ni Rimogat. I've been very happy to see that, especially itong game nila against Adamson. He's really starting to get to know the system. Is starting to be more consistent. This is probably the Ray Mogat that we'll see come season 88. Sam.
Sammy, fill in the blank.
Sige. So for me, my answer was going to be the depth. So kind of similar to Maui, no? So depth of UP. Siguro just to highlight other guys that Maui mentioned. So I think dun sa depth, and before I talk about it, like don't get me wrong, dun sa mga ibang listeners kasi sometimes baka sabihin nyo na we're parang we're questioning or parang we're against yung depth ng UE. But actually, I find it very impressive. As Maui mentioned, um, they improved on their existing talent already. So those are the guys that were there last year that played some minutes last year, but they've improved significantly. But I'm very surprised with the quality of recruits that they get. We were talking about prior to siguro just to highlight another guy prior to this recording this episode, we were talking about Denzel Walker. Na initially, um, I think the first time I saw him play, hindi ako masyado impressed. Parang wala naman tong ma-shoot or whatever, ganyan. But the more you watch him play, he's really a defensive player eh. He's a defense first guy. And I
And he's
think
a
if you guys
guard.
he's a guard. He's super long, athletic guy that can guard your best point guards. And if you guys watched as Mami mentioned, the Adamson game, I think he had like 4 or 5 steals in that game, or maybe he forced even more turnovers than that. Baka onti lang yung na-credit na steals, pero he forced a lot of turnovers for Adamson, and those are very very crucial turnovers in the end. Kasi UP won on a game-winning shot by Harold Alarcon. So those forced turnovers by Denzel Walker were really very crucial for UP that game. So I was so impressed with him, and I realized, alam mo, yung UP, hindi naman nila kailangan talaga ng scorer, eh, di ba? They have a lot of options that can score for them. But it's about building a complete team. And I know we talk about this a lot, and alam kong sometimes negative yung dating niya, but it's really going to be a good problem for Coach Goldwyn dun sa in deciding kung sino yung nasa final lineup niya, or building his lineup for season 87 or even season 88. Kasi we know sina Ray Remogat are coming in season 88 pa. But it's a good problem for Coach Gold and for UP kasi they're really talented guys, and obviously he has to pick 15 guys, and not all the 15 guys will get to play significant minutes. But it's so impressive how UP can continuously build on yung talent or the lineup that they have year on year on year. No, ever since they revamped the basketball program. The talent just keeps coming in, and um, I think yun yung maganda sa Pinoy Liga also is because we don't always get to watch all of these talented guys play in the UAAP, 'di ba? Even let's say si Alter, uh, didn't play as much during the UAAP season, during his rookie season, but he's dominating ngayon sa Pinoy Liga. It's fun to watch all the other guys play then for UP. Kaya Maui, yung when you mentioned Team A tsaka Team B, you get to watch basically what? 20, at least 20 UP players or 15 to 20 UP players play significant minutes. Masaya siya. Masaya siya. Kasi every game, you don't know who you're going to end up watching the game. And to the UP fans, they fill out the seats sa Pinoy Liga Cup. So, I guess people are also on the lookout for the next stars of season 87. So that's been the most impressive for me for UP.
Well, my answer to this statement was actually your answer, Sam, si Denzel Walker. I want to see more of this guy. Diba?
Yeah. Love this guy.
I want to see him play more. I mean, she's what? 6'3", 6'4", a point guard. Plays as a point guard. So,
Has cool hair din. Ganda ng buhok niya.
Yes, cool hair. Amazing locks, man.
Kita mo talaga,
I've-
si Walker yun.
He's athletic, sabi nga ni Sam, athletic, long, gets on the defensive end. You know, he gets on the best guards from the opposing team. I want to see him play more. I don't, ang immediately pumapasok sa utak ko, sana maglaro siya sa season 87. No? I don't know ang guard spot siya mag-fit because, you know nga, as many have said, UP has the strongest and deepest guard rotation in the UAAP. And I don't know where Denzel Walker fits in that. No? Whose minutes is he gonna eat up dun sa backcourt ng UP? But I do hope he gets some minutes. I like what I see so far. On the other end of the spectrum, UP faced the UE Red Warriors this past Saturday in UE's first ever game in the Pinoy Liga Cup. And let's just say it was a less than impressive debut for the UE Red Warriors. They were manhandled by the UP Fighting Maroons. Was not a good start. But my statement for the UE Red Warriors, despite that less than impressive debut in the Pinoy League Cup, one silver lining is blank. Let's start with you, Sammy. What's a silver lining for the UE Red Warriors? They have had, admittedly, one of the worst off seasons so far. They've lost Remogat, and that's already a big thing. But now, first game we've seen them in this off season. Give us a silver lining for all the UE fans out there who are, I'm sure, in pain.
Okay. Admittedly, hindi ko napanood yung full game na to. But I think for as a UE fan, sige, may two answers ako, but I'll go with my first one. I think one of the biggest silver linings here is Precious Momoway is still in UE. And he's still,
Dapat sasabihin ko.
leading the team.
You're my answer!
Sabi ko
Yung
na
sagot
answer.
nating tatlo.
Yeah.
Yun yung sagot nating tatlo. UE fans, we did not discuss this. Hindi namin ito pinag-usapan. Maui and I didn't even know the question. It was Gab who only knew the question. And all three of us had the same answer. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? For the longest time, we've been discussing this in our podcast na there are rumors, and we're hearing it from people, diba, na fresh after Ray Remogat left and all the, like 4 players left for like different teams, Precious Momoway was the next guy to leave. And I'm sure a lot of teams are lining up ready to take Precious Momoway into their team. Kasi this is almost rookie of the year, diba? If he wasn't disqualified. So, the fact na Precious Momoway played in the first UE game in Pinoy Liga is a sign na, okay, it seems like Precious Momoway is so far so good. It is playing for UE and he's ready to play for season 87. In terms of his performance, okay naman yung performance niya sa game. I saw the box score, but obviously tambak sila sa UP. So medyo garbage time-ish na rin siya. But for me, UE fans, you still have Precious Momoway. He could be one of the best FSAs in season 87. So that's a silver lining for you. Sorry. Ewan ko, nanakaw ko pala yung sagot niyong dalawa. anyone wants to go next.
Yeah.
That was the exact same thought. Maui, sige. Pull something out of your ass.
Great minds
no.
think alike.
I think the biggest silver lining when it comes to UE is it looks like they have a plan, di ba? If you look at yung recruiting this summer, maybe some of the players, disgruntled players, some of the players who are not getting love from the different other teams, at least they're going to go to UE where the opportunity is really available, di ba? With all of the exits, all of the graduates, all of these one and done players, I think that's one of the most silver linings. When you go to UE, much like Remogat, despite being a walk-in to UE, you get the opportunity to be able to showcase your talents. If it's in you, then you can really show your talent. I think that's one of the reasons why this UE team has continued to outperform, diba, the past few years. It's because players are empowered to really make and take shots, diba? They're given the opportunity to find a way to shine after not being able to shine probably in another school or in another opportunity. But I just hope wala nang off-court issues. If there's a team that can surprise us, if history is to dictate that for the past 5 years, it has to be UE. Maybe we see a different UE team when come season 86, 87. A lot of key rotation players are still out. I think si Cruz Dumont is still out. I'm not sure if yung brother na ba yung naglaro nung game. Si Gerard Wilson is also out. So they have a lot of players still coming in.
Just to correct you, Maui, si Jack played nung game. Si Hunter, I think, is still out.
Si Hunter is
Hunter
still out.
Cruz Dumont.
So they still have a few players that are coming in. Gerard Wilson showed a lot of promise last year when he was getting minutes. So maybe UE will surprise with this high octane offense, with Momoe getting his experience under the belt from last season. I guess one of the silver linings that I saw nung game was Momoe was more composed than the previous season. Momoe used to rush shots, used to he look more relaxed. He'll probably be the MVP frontrunner for next season just because of a lack of firepower for UE. Imagine, di ba? He was almost the rookie.
That's a good pick, Maui.
He
Good
was
pick
supposed
even.
to be. He was supposed to be the rookie of the year, but because of a disqualifying foul, Francis Lopez was able to get it. Now that Remogat is out of UE, then maybe Momoe can be a potential MVP contender, even if UE doesn't win a ton of games, diba? So I think that's the most optimistic I can get for UE. It's really a land of opportunity, yung UE for me right now. They just have to make diamonds out of the rough gap.
I think that's the reason, Maui, why a guy like Simur Alao, who was buried in the LaSalle bench, chose to go to UE. Because there's a ton of opportunity in UE. And you talk about guard play. That was my backup answer. My answer was really that because Precious is still in a UE jersey. So that's a silver lining right there. But yun talaga. Kung may main answer ako yun, but may backup answer ako. There were flashes from their guards. I think this guy, si John Abante, who showed some playmaking chops. And this guy, I think he's from Mapua High School, si Muling Tapang. Yeah, he had some flashes, but ultimately, let's call it what it is. They shit the bed against the against the UP pressure, against the UP guards. That UP defense, I'm sorry. As your first game in a UE uniform, ang katapat nyo ang UP Fighting Maroons and their hellish defense. So, I'll give them a pass for now. So I'm more interested to watch the future games for the UE Red Warriors, since I saw some flashes from these guards. So I hope they can perform better in perhaps when you get an opponent as less defensively prepared as the UP Fighting Maroons, they could show their wares. No, but yeah, so it was a really bad start to their Pinoy Liga campaign, especially na UP ang kalaban nila. They committed so many turnovers. You just look at the box score and just see that they committed so many turnovers. And they still have shooting. See, you mentioned Maui, si Cruz Dumont still there. He can shoot. My favorite guy from their team, si Welo Lingo is still there. Lingo is still there. He can shoot.
Malamig lang sila nung game.
Malamig lang. This guy, si Rainier Maga, hit 4 threes. He can also shoot. Ethan Galang, their big, stocky power forward, is also another guy who just plainly shoots. So, in terms of getting players that fit his system, I think Coach Jackson Tiago has players that fit his system. Let's see if they can surprise again in season 87. Parang yun na lang palagi yung kwento sa UE, di ba? Makaka-surprise ba sila for the next season? Ang dami na wala from the previous season. So, ito na yung next opportunity nila. But yeah, for the UE Red Warriors, more things to come. No, we just have to watch them. Okay, we're done with UE. Let's go to another team na hindi natambakan ng UP Fighting Maroons, ang Adamson Soaring Falcons. Sammy, you have been disappointed with the Adamson Soaring Falcons. You said that your stock was down on them in our previous episode, but they played a good game against UP, almost beat them. If not for some crucial turnovers, they would have beaten the UP Fighting Maroons. So, my question to you guys, the best thing about that game from the Adamson Soaring Falcons is blank. Maui, let's start with.
Yeah, I think yung best, if you watch yung game, yung best thing about it is yung willingness nila to really maybe work at on analytics side. I think they shot a ton of 3-pointers. This is probably the most number of 3-pointers. Most number of 3-pointers I've seen Adamson put up in any game. If you watch even kahit nung coach parang FEU si Coach Nash, I think that's something that they have to work on. Their shooting. If you don't have a superstar, the best thing that you can have is a multitude of shooters. But I guess yung resiliency rin nila, 'di ba? This team is a team that has lost a lot of games to start the Pinoy Liga. And a lot of their games have been ugly, to say the least, di ba? Kaya si Sammy very disappointed and maybe not that high on Adamson. But despite still not having yung key rotation players nila, imagine, they're probably one of the only teams, the only team that has been beaten by UP in single figures, I think, sa Pinoy Liga. This is probably the closest any team has come to beat UP. Alarcon had to hit that game-winning shot. And
against Olfu.
Olfu single digit din ata.
Olfu.
Parang nag-foul na lang si Olfu, di ba? So
yeah, maybe high single digits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think yung these types of games really prepare you for the season, di ba? Having yung not just for Adamson but also for UP. But it's really a waiting game for me when it comes to Adamson. When are we going to see the key guys from last season, di ba? We haven't seen what's the name of the guard?
Si Matthew Montebon.
Si Matthew Montebon. We have seen Monty Montebon. We haven't seen Cedric Manzano. We've seen only probably little of Eli Ramos. So there's a lot of players still missing from the lineup. But despite that, di ba? Despite that, they were able to go toe-to-toe with UP. Probably something I never imagined coming into that game, di ba? So, yeah. Sam.
Yeah, I like what you said about the 3-point shooting. Siguro I'll go on the other end of the spectrum. I like what I saw in terms of the defense that they did. So there were they had grit. Sabihin na lang natin na ganun. Kasi to be fair to them, they still went, it's not the complete UP team as we mentioned. It's the other half of UP, but they still went up against really tough opponents. They were up against Ray Mogat and Harold Alarcon, and Sina Torres were also playing. So it wasn't like a team B talaga na mga bangko ng UP. But they were able to fight back, and there were times during the game na UP looked like they were about to break through, and it was, their defense then and their 3-point shooting that helped them stay afloat and even take the lead for up to a certain time during the fourth quarter, I think. So I think I like what I saw from Adamson this game, and I want to apologize to Adamson fans kasi I reacted after
Last
just
year
like
ka pa,
one
Sammy.
game.
Last year ka
Actually,
pa.
actually, totoo yun, totoo yun. So again, so apologies to Coach Nash Racela, the coaching staff, the Adamson fans, the Adamson players kasi maybe it was an overreaction kaya my stock was down, but I nagulat din ako, Maui. I think I was just pleasantly surprised that they were able to um go toe to toe with UP despite missing their top two guys. And siguro if there's like if we were to ask like a silver lining then itong si AJ Franzman seems to be a good number 3 for Adamson. So imagine Manzano, Montebon and Franzman playing at the same time. I think that would be a good combination. Uh, you talked about the 3-point shooting. I think he also hit like a couple of threes. Ang medyo hindi ko lang gusto is like he medyo trigger happy din siya sa mid-range. So if we're talking about the analytics, one of the worst shots yung mid-range. Pero mahilig siya mag mid-range shot din. So I want to see more of AJ Franzman din.
Halos same things as you guys said. You talk about the three-pointers, Maui. They attempted 31 threes compared to UP's 18. They made 11 threes compared to UP's 5. That's what kept them in the game. In the first half, they could have been down by 20 points, but they made 7 threes compared to, I think UP only made 2 in the first half. And that was essentially the game plan. Yung tama kay Maui. Adamson was just trying to get in the paint, kick out, and launch threes. That was essentially, they had no one who could score in the paint. They were essentially playing either si Barasi or si Ojarikre as their center. And then a bunch of shooters. That was essentially it. And Barasi, let's just face it, he's not that much of a offensive player. Ojarikre is not that much of an offensive player. He mainly just rebounds and blocks shots. Although he was pretty good at that.
But
He
to be
blocked
fair
a
kay
couple of shots for-
Ochericre, he did well defensively.
He knows his role.
blocking shots. Yeah. And he was challenging
He knows his
without
role.
fouling
Yeah.
too much. Actually, a lot of the Adamson players, I feel like they challenged a lot
blocks.
of shots without
Ojarike.
fouling. Yeah.
5 blocks.
So,
yun.
kudos to him.
Yeah, so again, man, he knows his role. He's not gonna do much on offense. You're gonna protect the rim and grab offensive and defensive rebounds. But yeah, mukhang Adamson is just gonna live and die by the 3-point shot this season. Maybe it will change once si Cedric Manzano arrives. Then they will have someone who can actually score in the paint, diba? But other than Cedric, I don't see anyone else who can actually get buckets inside the 3-point line. Maybe nga si AJ Franzman, as you said, he has shown the ability to shoot the mid-range shot and drive to the basket. But mostly, 3-point shooting din siya eh. Diba? Mostly sila Noah Pacquiao, Kenji Cañete, they all just hang out at the 3-point line waiting for an open shot. So that's essentially going to be their game for season 87. Other than that, go ahead. Maui, Sam.
No, I just wanted to say, medyo disappointing lang for me si, how do you pronounce it? Ronzone. Diba? So far.
Yeah.
It's like Troy Reich 2.0. Diba? We're getting Division 1 guard play in the UAAP, and so far the results haven't been that encouraging, diba? Franzman has played a lot better than Ronzone in Langgap. At saka last, sorry. Bati na si Coach Nash and si Coach Tab. I have to say lang. Nag-post si Coach Nash ng picture eh, diba?
Nag-golfing bodies na ulit sila.
Magandang transition yan, Maui. Kasi ang next question natin tungkol sa isang team that did not play in the weekend. So the Ateneo, so for those who do not know, because it wasn't televised, the Ateneo Blue Eagles defaulted their game against the NU Bulldogs on Saturday. They did not play, they did not show up. But as we've been told, their exams are upcoming, so they were given a day off to study. But the statement I have for the two of you guys, the day off given to the Ateneo Blue Eagles is blank, very open ended. Just straight out is blank. Sammy, is it bad? Is it good? Oh, was it surprising to you?
Um, I would say, it's much needed for Ateneo. The day off for Ateneo was surprising but much needed, I would say. Kasi, I think it was I think it was during the first game of Ateneo sa Pinoy Liga. One of the commenters said na, like, I forget the number, but like, at this Ateneo team has, um, missed a combined of certain number of hours because of injury. I think si Chris Kuhn just came back from injury. A bunch of their guys are coming back from injury, and we've talked about, or maybe vacation, like si Kiteves, I know, came from abroad or something. So we've talked about this, maybe off air, na we haven't seen a bunch of players, 'di ba? Even Jared Bahay is still like in Cebu
Lazaro.
finishing high school. So Lazaro we haven't seen. So I think that day off is much needed kasi I think Ateneo needs more time to like gel or figure things out as a team and be able to play together as a team. And if exams are coming up, well, they also need time to prepare for their exams. So I'm not expecting, to be honest, I'm not expecting much from Ateneo in Pinoy Liga Cup. So far from what we've seen in the first two games, you can tell na maybe they need more time to work together and build their chemistry, because seems like maraming ang guys coming in from injuries and whatnot. So the day off is much needed, I would say, for Ateneo.
Maui.
Ako a bit suspicious ang reaction ko.
Oh,
It's no. No, it's just weird, di ba? Kasi you can always reschedule games. I think Lasal was supposed to play also on Saturday, but the game was moved to Sunday, yung game nila against Papua. So it's a bit suspicious why Ateneo decided to probably inform Pinoy Liga too late for them to be able to do anything. Imagine the fans. Remember, guys, when we watched the Ateneo game, there were people watching Ateneo, diba? The Ateneo game. So imagine the people had to go to Paco, Manila, and then yung pala, the game was canceled, postponed or canceled. So it was a default by Ateneo. So a bit suspicious, but then again, it's exam week. The seniors have to study. We know that Ateneo and Coach Tab puts a premium on grades. So these guys have to make sure that they don't fail on Coach Tab's standard, not just the standard of the UAAP. So it makes sense that they're prioritizing this, diba? They have to prioritize them getting the much needed grades. So it doesn't surprise me that Ateneo decided not to play, but what was suspicious was that Ateneo did not inform probably Pinoy Liga on time. But then again, on the bright side, I saw si Mason Amos, our friend Mason, posting on social media during that day. He was still practicing. I think he was shooting or working out. So maybe these guys just needed a breather aside from their exams. Maybe they can't. Ateneo just wanted them to because of all the losses also. Ateneo wanted pressure off, diba, to these players. Maybe they just wanted them to practice and study, not to play. We'll never know, but hopefully everything's okay. Dab.
Ako, so the day off for Ateneo is something that I never thought I would see in the basketball landscape in the Philippines. Just to remind you, Maui, there is such a thing in Ateneo called the moratorium, diba? When it's near the exam week, all student activities are canceled. You're not allowed to conduct student activities during the moratorium week. I think that's what the the Blue Eagles were following. However, from experience and from being an Ateneo student myself, I could say that varsity teams don't really follow that rule. So it was
Especially
surprising to me.
basketball.
Oh, so it was surprising to me that this was the actual reason that they skipped the game day was to study. Now, I'm not putting any doubt into whether they were actually studying or not. If they said that was the reason why they chose to forfeit their games, so I give them the benefit of the doubt. But I have never seen that personally in my years of watching and studying in Ateneo, especially when it comes to the Blue Eagles. So it's a surprise. It's something I never thought would happen, but it's a pleasant surprise that they actually decided to follow the break or the moratorium period of the Loyola schools. If you still studied in Ateneo, please comment down below if the moratorium is still being followed or if it's still being implemented. Because when Maui and I went to school there, they did have such a thing as a moratorium where
May ganun pala, no?
Although-
Hindi ko alam nga yun.
meron, yeah, yung may ganun. I know, I was part of orgs there, so all student activities, I think a week or 2 weeks before the final exams, you're not allowed to conduct anything. So hopefully we see the Ateneo Blue Eagles back in action and we see more Instagram or Facebook posts from Coach Nash and Coach Tab, just showing that whatever happens on the UAAP court stays on the UAAP court and we can still remain friends. So
Kung si Coach
Just
Tab tsaka si Coach
something-
Nash kaya nang walang personalan, dapat tayo rin, di ba?
oh,
Yun!
yan, tama yan, Maui.
Let's end it with that.
One more, wait lang. One more
Ay,
question,
may isa
guys.
pa,
One
may
more
isa pa,
question.
May isa pa, tama.
May isa pa. There was one other team who played during the weekend, and it was the De La Salle Green Archers squeezing a 2-point win against, must I say, the very impressive Mapua Cardinals. I've been very impressed with Mapua in this Pinoy Liga Cup. But for the DLSU Green Archers, something very different. The role player that I expect to take a step up this season is blank. So role player, Maui, bawal na si KQ. Bawal mo na sagutin si KQ. Bawal na si Mike Phillips. Bawal na si Paulie because he's essentially gonna be one of the main guys already. So a role player.
Ba't bawal si Polly?
Because he's already at the precipice. He's already there. So, bawal na. Yun yung mga common answers natin eh. So, let's start with a real role player. A role player who you expect to take a step up this upcoming season. Sammy, I'll start with you.
Nako.
No, actually, I'm gonna I don't know about you guys, pero Dark Horse pick to. Para talagang swerve tayo, talagang role player. I'm looking at the lineup. I'm not even sure if he's gonna make the lineup, pero I wanna shout him up para mapag-usapan naman. I've been impressed with, or I think Russell Ogana is a very solid player so far in Pinoy Liga Cup.
He's getting minutes.
Whoa.
Minutes,
He's getting
ah.
minutes. So it's a surge,
love
talagang
it.
super role player.
I love it, Sam.
Super role player.
That's the way to go.
But it's funny kasi kaya ako lang siya napansin. And Maui, we were talking about him when we watched the LaSalle versus NU game. Kaya ako lang siya napansin because he's number 24 who was it used to be Mark Nonoy. So sabi ko, sino yung kamukha ni Mark Nonoy? Nandiyan pa ba si Mark Nonoy? Kasi 24 din na medyo stocky na guard. And he played well during the LaSalle NU game. And I think he started dito sa Mapua LaSalle game. And he played, I think he played decent minutes then in this game. So I've been very impressed with him. Wala masyadong fanfare or hype kay Russell Ogana. To be honest, hindi ko pa rin siya na-research. So actually don't know where he came from, ano background niya. But he was a pleasant surprise for me. So when it comes to him making the lineup for season 87, I'm not so sure. LaSalle is also a very, very deep team. But I like him. I'm rooting for him. So medyo super swerve out of nowhere role player pick for me, Russell Ogana.
I actually like your pick, Sammy, because when you were watching nung game nila against NU, I kind of thought that they would play maybe someone like an Aaron Buensalida from the bench, no, who was impressive in some of their earlier preseason games and even in the D League, no. But the first wing of the bench was this guy Rosan Ogana. I'm like,
Yeah, even he played more minutes than Guliena, 'di ba? I was expecting Guliena to
oh!
play significant minutes actually.
So talk about someone you never expected to be part of a rotation when the full rotation is there and you got Russell Ogana. So if anyone has any info on Russell Ogana, please comment down below. Maui, who's your pick for a role player that you expect to rise up?
Yeah. I think obvious pick si Boris Manasigan. I think if you watch yung Lasal when they were playing yung Team B nila nung early part ng Pinoy Liga, dun sa other tournament ng Pinoy Liga, he was very good. He's a decent shooter. He can score in a different way, arrays. But if there was one player I were to really choose, probably not the most obvious one, but probably one of the crowd favorites from season 86, he has to be VJ David. I think this guy will probably start at point guard. Now that Moore Alawas is not there also. I'm not sure which way Lasal can go when it comes to the guard rotation. But I would expect VJ David to start. I think yung game against NU, yung opening game nila, he started. He will probably continue to be that player that will be the steady 3-point shooter for Lasal. I expect him to hit a ton of 3-pointers next season, especially given the fact that I think si Coach Topex has really empowered yung big man niya, quote unquote, kasi si KQ and si Policarpio are not looking like big man anymore. Empowering them to make plays on their own. I think si Mike Phillips is also being given yung liberty. One of the comments that we received actually na unfavorable on Lasal is that Lasal is trying to make Phillips make plays. But I think that would pay dividends, diba? If he's able to work on that consistently. I think that if Mike is able to work on that, if he gets Gilles eligibility, he will definitely make it if he converts his game to a power forward. But when it comes to Lasal, when you have those star players who are big man and wing players, you have to have shooters. Diba? I think that's something that Lasal will need for next season. It's one of the reasons why Escandor really showed out and balled out in finals. It's also one of the reasons why VJ David also got a spotlight in finals. And I think it's going to be a recurring theme for VJ David for next season. So he's definitely my pick. For that role player, I'm expecting to take the leap. Gab.
Ako, it has to be Earl Abadam. Now, in previous seasons, before season 86, before they won the championship, he was doing some offensive playmaking. But under Coach Topex, naging primarily spot-up shooter na siya. So, with Evan Nelly gone and with Mark Nono gone, yung question naman sa Lasal is who will take on that extra playmaking now that Evan Nelly is gone. We saw it last season. They struggled without KQ or Evan Nelly on the floor. Specifically, those two guys. Even si Mark Nono, you couldn't help them in the playmaking side. So, is Earl Abadam finally gonna show off that playmaking that he once showed under Coach Derek Pumaren, yung prior to season 86? Or will he just simply be, again, a spot-up shooter? So far, pang wala yung main guys, naglalaro siya as a main playmaker eh. It just so happens pang when the main rotation guys are playing, he sort of takes a back seat. And I want him to show more. I want him to show more playmaking. I think he can. He's not just a spot-up shooter, unlike how he was played in season 86. So I'm looking forward to more Earl Abadam, hopefully as the Pinoy Liga goes on and even towards the Phil Oil. I hope he gets more chance to play make. Again, man, he's a big body with he's a 3-level scorer. He doesn't just shoot threes. So siya yung role player that I expect to take a leap or want to take a leap as we approach season 87. And that's it. That's all of the statements I had prepared for this episode. We covered all of the five teams even one who chose not to play, the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Sammy, why don't you go ahead and sign us off?
So that's it for today's episode. If you have any comments, reactions, please don't forget to comment them down below. If you have answers to Gab's 5 questions, comment them down below and let us know your thoughts. We always love reading your comments and replying to them. Um, Make sure you like and share the post to all your friends, and if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe. We really appreciate it if you subscribe, and don't forget, watch Pinoy Liga Cup every Thursday, Saturdays, and Sundays. We'll be talking about them more until the end of the season. Stay tuned. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.